766. You can also do this. You can Gmail me at the numeral number 7, Mr. Bobby, Bobby, at gmail.com. You can also do this, particularly if you'd like to watch the show and the graphics that do come up. All you have to do is go to the YouTube channel and type in the word Talktainment. Hit the space bar and type in the word radio. Scroll down to Talktainment number 2 live on YouTube, and you can watch the broadcast live. And if you elect to do that way, please do hit the subscribe button and the like button. And finally, you can do this. You can go to facebook.com/Talktainment, where you can hear the entire program all over again. Some people really like to hear themselves, but anyway, you can listen to the program any way that you can. Oh, by the way, you can also go to Talktainment Radio, which we would prefer.com, and listen to the program too. There's a lot of shenanigans going on. We like to refer to them as the usual suspects that are doing things, but you can also go back to Talktainment and hear the program. Okay, live from Washington, D.C. is Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. That's, of course, if those people haven't edited this part out, which they can do and have done. But anyway, you can, here's Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. He is live from Washington, D.C. And as usual, we ask him, Mr. Fuller, good morning, and how are you?
Good morning. I'm still learning.
You are still learning. Okay. We want to start today's program off with a topic. It was from something that you had said last week, and in previous weeks you have made mention of this, and every time you make mention of this, my email house gets just bombarded with emails. But it has to do with the white male anus replacing the black vagina. And let's start off today's programming with a brother from South Africa, and he says this. I guess there's a lot going on in South Africa, which we might get into. But he says this, Mr. Fuller, you said that white supremacists are trying to make the white male anus the replacement for the black vagina. Number one, in your view, Mr. Fuller, how will they manage to make us black men repulsed by the black vagina? And number two, how is straight sex supposed to operate in a system of justice? I'd like your opinion on that, please.
Well, so-called straight sex is what you call sex. That is sex according to the code. So that is the definition of sex, male with female. Anything other than that is just some type of activity. That comes under the title of activity. In other words, an act. Whatever that act is. Usually people, when they talk about all the different varieties of sexuality, they don't talk about the actual act. They just give some type of label. I mean, LGBTQ, maybe, XYZ. I mean, who knows? Who knows what all this means in detail when you start actually talking about activity? See, we never get into the details. We just have all kind of broad labels for categories of so-called sexuality. Sex, according to counter-racist logic. Now, this is strictly counter-racist logic, trying to prepare the black people of the world, the non-white people of the world, to evolve into universal man and universal woman, something that we are not qualified for now. No one is, white or non-white. What does that mean? It means, hypothetically, as a vision, being the quality of people that people should be at the very max. And so that would mean in the eighth area of activity, as far as sexuality is concerned, male with female, universal woman, universal man. That's where everybody, white and non-white, should be aiming to go, which means in tune with the best that there is of the universe. It's all kinds of things people can do because people do all kinds of things. But we want to get away from just doing anything, any kind of old way. We've experimented with enough things to have an idea of some things are really better than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some activities are better than others. I mean, just everyday activities. How to cook certain types of food. The process for doing so, one process, after you experiment with 5 and 6 different type of processes, you may find out that one process for one type of food may not correspond with another process for another type of food. So after you do experiments and whatnot, you find out that, well, this is the best way to prepare vegetables. I mean, to be consumed, because not all vegetables are the same. That's a category, vegetables. They're different from fruit, they say. All right? So it's the same way with sex. People now are experimenting with every conceivable type of sex that you can possibly do. Mostly the white supremacists are sponsoring this, and they're experimenting like they mostly do when they get ready to experiment with anything that has a big question mark. They do all that experimentation, whether it's trying out some new pharmaceutical type drug or whatever. They do the same thing with non-white people. Let's go over there among the dark-skinned people, just like in The Godfather 1. Let's experiment with this drug thing that we're going to do with the mobs and keep it among the dark people and see how it plays out. And if it has a great big benefit, then we'll transfer that over to the best people on the planet, which presumably will be white in the system of white supremacy. But if it doesn't work out too well, who cares what happens to all those dark-skinned scraps anyway? They're nothing but animals. They're nothing but things to experiment with anyway. So they are doing this thing full time with the non-white people of the planet. Now, they're doing it among white people, but otherwise to make it convincing. But it's really aimed at the non-white people. All of these new sexual experiments, every type of experiment that you can possibly conceive of is being tried. I mean, they're mixing and matching every type of thing that you can name. Well, let's go for the white anus and put the black vagina on the shelf, all right, and say that the white male anus is a reasonable replacement for the black vagina. After all, these black females with vaginas, they're not worth anything anyway, because black people are not worth anything. What are they worth? It is in the way. I mean, and the only thing, since they're here, we just use them for experiments, okay? But we'll see how the white male anus works out as a substitute black vagina for a little while, and it might work out that it's superior to the black vagina. After all, black vaginas don't do anything but produce a whole bunch of inferior people. That's all it's good for. A whole bunch of animals, that we can find some use for, and we base our foundation for white supremacy on the black vagina. So, but it's mostly just, that's secondary vaginas. The white female vagina is the supreme vagina. That's the holy grail of all vaginas. But we'll experiment with anuses for a while to see if they can work as substitutes or compensatory vaginas, all right? And if it turns out, under some circumstances, like going back and forth to the moon and other planets, you can just have male mate with male and all like that. We can find uses for it under various circumstances. But for right now, let's do all of our experimentation, mostly with the dark-skinned people. And if you come up with new types of diseases and all like that, or deformed offspring as a result of it, let it happen among the dark people, all right? I mean, having babies with no arms and all like that. And we'll just take it to the nth degree and see where it goes. And mostly, we'll do it among ourselves, because, see, if you're the great deceiver, See, black people are not that dumb. That if they don't see you doing something, they'll be skeptical about doing it themselves. So the white supremacists learned long ago in experimenting with alcohol. See, they would sit down with the Indian chief, for example, and they say, okay, chief, you have a swig of this alcohol. This is fire water. You all believe in drinking pure water, but I got some water here that's got fire in it. All right? This is a special type of water, chief. You're really going to like this. I mean, it tastes good, too, and it makes you feel great. Okay? So the chief will take a little bit of drink, and that white settler, as he calls himself, he will take a little bit of drink. And then he'll get the chief to take a bigger drink. And then he'll take a little bit of drink. And then he'll get the chief to take a bigger drink. Next thing you know, the chief, at Thanksgiving Day, around that table, the chief is up under the table. The chief is drunk. And that's when he gets the chief to sign away his land. All right? And then when the chief sobers up, he says, well, what happened? I mean, they say, well, you signed away your land. I own your land now. He say, yeah, but you got me drunk to do it. Say, well, sorry about that. I mean, that's you. You can't hold your liquor, chief. I mean, all you Indians, you can't hold your liquor. We white settlers, we know how to hold liquor. We've been drinking liquor forever. Okay? So that's debate. And they do the same thing with sexuality. They'll do a whole bunch of what they're trying to get the black people to do, experiment with anuses and phalluses going into each other's mouths and all like that, and say, this is the way to go. This is the new sexuality. This is a great improvement over anything that we've ever done before. That's what they're saying. And black people, we go for anything that's new. It looks like it's new. It looks like it's a great change. And if it looks like white people are doing a lot of it, it's got to be great. So, in summation, that's where they're carrying this.
Okay.
And I say, the code says, back off. Why? Because be suspicious of anything that they want to dump on you and say that's the greatest thing ever.
Okay.
Be suspicious.
Okay. All righty. TalkTimeRadio.com is a 24/7, no-charge, worldwide broadcasting facility with hosts delivering on various topics such as news, lifestyle, sports, law, health, wellness, religion, and politics. Now, here's one that I've been pushing lately, and that is, This is Libby. Check that out and see what Libby has to say, particularly in the realm of holistic foods and holistic living, holistic thoughts. We need to be at balance, and we are so severely out of balance. So check that out. And also All in the Family. You check that out, too. These shows are exclusive to Talk Team at Radio. And all you have to do is go to the TalkTeamRadio.com homepage, click on the programs for all the information about the host and about the programs and the times. All that coming from TalkTeamRadio.com. That is radio the way it should be heard. We're going to have a special announcement that we are going to do this hour, and we're going to do next hour. Are we ready for that special announcement? No, we are? Yeah, we're ready for the special. This is a special announcement from TalkTeamRadio.com. Give a listen.
We thank you for your emails and your feedback, and we are working very hard for you. We have supported the compensatory code since 1975. We believe that it is the only system of thought, speech, and action that enables us to move in the correct direction to work toward the production of justice. But right now, we need your help. If we're going to continue the compensatory concept show each week, we need your support. Now, we thank you and deeply appreciate what you've already donated. Please help us to continue to get the compensatory code system of thought, speech, and action out. Please donate today. Go to TalkTainmentRadio.com and hit the yellow donate button on the front page. Donate today. We appreciate any amount that you can give. We thank you so much.
Are you?
We are pushing hard for that because we do want this program to continue. As far as I know, it may be the only one like its kind that gives you the absolute unadulterated truth about the prison system that we live in, which is the global system of white supremacy. By the way, you can also, and we encourage you to listen to the program in its podcast form by going to the talktaminradio.com podcast and listening to the compensatory concept here on talktaminradio.com. That's the way that radio should be heard. Our topic, our on-screen topic has been, is the white male anus in the system of racism, which is white supremacy. Mr. Fuller has talked about it, and we get a lot of calls on that. Phone lines are open, 1-877-932-9766. Let's go here to the Gmails. This is from Zaquan. He says this, Mr. Fuller, according to your knowledge, personal experience, and interpretation. Now, this is your knowledge. What's the official definition of pro-black? Is there an official list or criteria that you are aware of, Mr. Fuller, that details what exactly pro-black is, how it works, who is pro-black as a reference? What are the rules, requirements, qualifications, and disqualifications of pro-blackness? This is from Kaheem in Wilmington, Delaware.
Well, I don't use the term pro-black. I just say victims of racism should eliminate the system of white supremacy. I do not put emphasis on blackness for blackness' sake. Blackness, black skin color is something that was given to black people. If you have it, if you have black skin, that's a gift, just like your toes, your eyes, your ears. I mean, it's no different. You have skin that's black. You have fingernails. I mean, and even on a black person, fingernails are white. All right? So what that's all about? Your teeth are white, even though you have black skin. See, your skin is black, but your teeth are white. Why aren't your teeth black? Well, because whatever produced you saw to it that your teeth would be white. Your bones would be white inside of your body, but your skin would be black. So I don't get into all of this stuff about the uniqueness of blackness, even though black is unique because it's black. Green is unique because it's green. Purple is unique because it's purple. Purple is not green. I mean, purple is purple. That makes it unique. A female is unique because it's a female. And a male is unique because he is a male. And so, in the category of skin color, that's just like anything else. I mean, you have a bird that has different types of colors of feathers, and then you have another bird called a blackbird. All of the feathers are black, okay? And then you'll have another bird, that's flying over, and that bird will have 10 different colors maybe in the same bird. I mean, the head will be one color. You see ducks, sometimes on the pond, the head is one color. And the feathers, these are feathers, not skin, but the feathers are a different color. All right? And so it is what it is. So it's nothing to brag about and nothing to be ashamed of. It just is what it is. But the white supremacists came along and took a look at black people and say that's something you should be ashamed of. All right? And we have bought into it to a great degree. But when we caught on to what they were doing, we went the other way with it and started going around saying, I'm proud to be black. Well, why are you proud to be black when you didn't have any more to do with being black than you had to do with inventing your own teeth, which are white, okay, or your eyeballs, or your ears, or the shape of your ears as an individual person? You didn't have anything to do with that. You didn't know anything about it. You just came here with this equipment. It was all given to you. So you just take the gift and use it to do the things that need to be done. And I put in the code book years ago, the original code book, and it's also an updated one. You don't go around saying you're proud to be black because you didn't have anything to do with it. What are you talking about? You're proud to be black. You're not supposed to be ashamed of being black, but to say that you're black and proud when you didn't have anything to do with it, you're not supposed to be proud of it, and you're not supposed to be ashamed of it. Now, if you're looking for something to be proud of producing a product called justice. And if you ever produce it, don't go around having parades about that either, because that's what you're supposed to be doing anyhow.
Yes. Okay.
You just take that for granted.
All righty.
You know?
Let's go to the phone lines. Line number 1, you are now on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead with your question.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Fuller. Recently, Prince Harry married a non-white woman, and people are saying there's no more racism. Can you please explain the racial showcasing? This is just something to
racial
confuse
showcasing
everybody.
is described in the 2016 version. The updated version of the textbook is on page 28, 29, etc. But it starts on page 28 of the basic compensatory counter-racist code book, 2016 edition, which is the latest edition. And showcasing, are you talking about the recent royal wedding?
Yes.
Okay, that's the case of it, according to the code. They say that the lady is part black, or biracial, which according to counter-racist science, there's no such thing as biracial. You're either a member of a race or you're not. There's no such thing as two races. I mean, you're either a racist or you're not. The only purpose for being a member of any race is to practice racism. And the only reason for practicing racism is to mistreat somebody based on color. It absolutely serves no other purpose. You can be a member of a tribe, you can be a member of a fraternity, you can be a member of a nation or a sorority or a committee. But if you're a member of a race, that's an invention of the white supremacists, presumably. They're the usual suspects. And the only purpose for being a member of a race is to practice racism. So what is racism? It's mistreating people based on color. That's all it's good for. Not good for nothing else. I mean, why join a race unless you can explain why you're joining a race or inventing a race? I'm going to invent a new race of people. In order to do what? Why can't you just do whatever you're going to do that needs doing? If you need to produce a product, just go ahead and produce the product. Why are you inventing a race of people in order to do what? That's the question. So this racial showcasing is something that the white supremacists do. And what does that mean? It means they take a few non-white people that they have classified as non-white, and they sprinkle them out among the populations of the world. And they give that few, sometimes it's money, billions of dollars, and or they will give them some type of fancy title. And then they will showcase, say out of a population, say of 40 million black people, for instance, they will take maybe 5,000 people. I mean, if you just line them up, that's quite a few people. all right, and dump $1 billion on each one of them. 5,000 black people, and each one of them gets $1 billion. Now, if you put that in a magazine and put all their pictures in there and whatnot, that'll be a pretty thick magazine. If you just turn the pages of all of these billionaires, each one of them has $30 billion, all right? 5,000. You say, oh, that's black progress. Look, 5,000 black people. Each one of them have $30 billion. Man, we have overcome. There are no more problems. But see, you're not counting all of the millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of black people out here who don't have a biscuit to eat. All right? So that's what showcasing is all about. It's about putting up a few, just a handful out of an entire world population of people who are classified of color. And they parade them around all over the internet, all over the photographic world, all over the viewing world, just parade them. Just takes a handful. Sometimes it's just a dozen or two. And you parade them everywhere. Put them on every newscast and whatnot. And then you turn to the world audience and say, see, there's no racism. Look at these dark-skinned people and look at their royal positions. All right? Give you a royal title. And say, see, no racism. Racism is gone. I mean, in fact, at a certain point, we're going to say it never did exist. So what are you people complaining about? We don't want to hear any complaints. Look, we have a whole royal family that's got people of color in it. Wow! Isn't that grand? Now all of your problems are solved instantly. All of you people who are digging in the dirt in the Congo, in those mines and whatnot, at low wages and whatnot. You don't have any problems anymore. They're all over.
Yeah, we're going to have to leave it there. Now, you can call into the show right now, as we do have a caller, which we will get to, at 1-877-932-9766. We would like for you to call in that number. You can also Gmail me at the numero 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY at gmail.com. Now, I can't say that I'm going to get to your email specifically today, but it will be addressed. You can also watch and hear the compensatory concept live on the YouTube channel. All you have to do is go to the YouTube channel, type in Talktainment, hit the space bar, and type in the word radio. Scroll down to Talktainment number 2 live on YouTube, and watch the live broadcast. While you are there, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Won't cost you anything. And hit the like button. And that will not cost you anything either. You can also go to facebook.com/Talktainment to hear the program. And this right here, to hear the program again in its entirety, go to TalktainmentRadio.com podcast. And you can hear it live, every word. Some places do not have every word for obvious reasons, but you can go to the TalktainmentRadio.com podcast and hear the entire program of the compensatory concept. We were speaking on topic about the white male anus being the new female vagina, and Mr. Fuller has addressed that and will continue to, but we will have a phone call right here. Okay, caller, you're on. Go ahead with Mr. Fuller.
Oh, hi. Hi. Good morning, guys. I was thinking of, I know how Mr. Fuller says that we're considered like boys and girls under the system of white supremacy, and I was even thinking how we even call our own homes a crib, like a baby crib. So I was just wondering psychologically if that's a bad term for us to use, considering the ideologies of everything about us.
Mr. Fuller?
If I understand the question, he said that we're babies in a crib.
Well, I think he was saying that oftentimes, and I've even heard that somebody would refer to their house as a crib. This is my crib. This is where I'm at. My crib.
Yes, Dr. Francis Wilson used to make speeches on that all the time. That's a slang expression among black people in the Northwestern Hemisphere. You don't hear too much now, but they used to say, "Hey, hey man, I'm on my way to the crib," meaning wherever his place of residence is. All right. Now, at a subliminal level, he's saying, going back to being a baby. All right. We never really left that stage. So, in the system of white supremacy, a black person is regarded as a child. All right. We never grew up. So that's built into our language even. We call the woman that we chose as our mate back in I'll say the 1940s and 50s. It's many a blues song. If you listen to old blues song, they'll say, "Hey, big mama. Hey, fine mama." And evolving out of that is the word MF. Okay?
What?
You're talking about somebody, all right, that you have sex with. Okay? And doing so-called chattel slavery. I mean, when we were in chains, actual chains, we're still in slavery. All right? The white supremacists, they didn't care, just like they don't now, about mix and match. They would have a big slave have sexual intercourse with his mother. All right? If that slave master thought that would produce a big, strong child, say, all right, that's that black female slave I have on my plantation. I mean, she's one of the strongest females I've ever seen. I mean, she can really handle that cotton. I mean, she can handle those mules. She can get behind that plow without the mule. I mean, and plow that ground. I mean, and just do it just from brute strength and whatnot. And so, even though she's got a couple of big boys, I mean, that grew up alongside of her, I mean, they're taller than she is and stronger than she is. I think that I'll just mate them with their mother. All right?
Mm-hmm. Did you say that's how the term MF came about?
Yeah, most logically.
Okay, logically.
And that's why black males use it in a most disparaging manner. Very few white men use the term MF. Very few. When I was in the Army, it was mostly black males that used that all the time, much to the chagrin of the white soldiers, who always looked at that term with horror. All right? They would say every type of other curse words you can name. I mean, mostly SOB and bastard and all like that. But that term MF, you very seldom heard a white person use that term.
Okay.
But the black soldiers, because the white soldiers didn't use it, so they said, hey, since they don't use it, we'll have something of our own. So we'll use it.
Wow.
That'll be something, I mean, that's an inside thing.
Okay.
And it's a black thing. You wouldn't understand. All right?
Okay.
See, so black people got to the place where anything that white people are not doing, we grab hold to it, even if it's something that doesn't make sense. If we see that white people are not doing it at all, or not saying it at all, it must be something that's exclusively black.
Okay.
So we have to be careful about that, too.
Boy, you learn something new every day. Thank you, caller. Before we get to that 45-minute mark, Mr. Fuller, here's a question from Yaturi. Says this, Mr. Fuller, you often talk about how we as black people are trained or accustomed to showing off to each other. Don't all people, cultures, do the same in some way? What is the difference from when we do it versus other non-white and white people do it? Please explain. Thank you.
White people in the system of white supremacy have plenty to show off. They produce the things that they show off. Okay? I mean, they produce the clothing, the cars, and everything, but black people coming in from around the corner, peeping out from under the rug, or under the bed, or from the bars in the cell saying, "Oh, look at that. Ain't that nice? Look at that. Ooh, ain't that pretty? I'm going to get that." So he does what? He goes out, shoots somebody, steals it or whatever, or sometimes works for it, and he gets that diamond ring. And then when he gets it, now he got no idea about how that diamond was gotten, because a whole bunch of black people died in the diamond mines so that he could have that rock on his finger. All right, he doesn't know about that, though, and he's strutting around with this diamond ring on his finger, showing off what? To other black people. He's not showing off to white people, because he can't show off to white people. It's the white people, the white supremacists indirectly, who gave him the diamond. So you can't show off to the person who gave you the diamond. So what you do is get the diamond from Massa, from the white supremacists. Massa, I will work hard, I will work hard, and work hard, and work hard, and finally you will let me have one of these diamonds. Now I will get that diamond from Massa, put it on my finger, and then I will go down in Darktown and strut around flashing my diamond. That's show-offism. And that's show-offism without any substance behind it. Why? Because you don't produce any diamonds, that's why. So stop showing off. The code says, stop showing off anything that you have. A car, a diamond, your house, because we don't produce nothing. We don't produce anything of value.
All righty.
And so stop showing off things that you don't produce. You're showing off something that somebody else produced. So what does that make you?
Yes.
I mean, that doesn't give you know, you're not anybody special because you're showing off something that you got from somebody else. Show off something that you produce, okay, other than troubles.
Other than troubles. Okay. We are now at the 45-minute mark, and you know what that means, Mr. Fuller. This is a time for you to speak concerning your book, so take it away.
You can get the book that includes a whole lot of information, hopefully in a manner that you can read it and understand it, by going to producejustice.com. The things that I'm saying on this program, most of it, if not all, in one form or another, is in the textbook for victims of white supremacy, the Compensatory Counter-Racist Code, the updated version from 1984, which is still valid, by the way. But in 2016, I came up with a revised, expanded edition of the 1984 edition of the textbook workbook for victims of white supremacy. If you don't perceive yourself as being a victim of white supremacy, I want to emphasize the book is not for you. But if you perceive yourself as being a direct or indirect victim of white supremacy, then the book may be valuable to you in one form or another. If you get the book and you don't find anything in it that you can use, just hand it to somebody else and say you didn't find anything in it that made sense to you or that you could use. The book is for the individual person to use. And so you can get it by going to producejustice.com. That's producejustice.com. And what will come up on the screen is the method for ordering. And then there's other information there, too, about the addition to the book, which is a compensatory counter-racist word guide. But the book, I want to emphasize this, the book is directed to individual persons, not to organizations, not to groups. It's directed to individual persons. Now, people who are in organizations can and should use it, or in colleges for that matter. I mean, take it to school with you. And when they're talking about, if you're in some fancy college, and Yale or Harvard or Oxford, and they're talking about this and that and the other, and they start talking about the race issue, just haul out the compensatory code and compare what they're saying in that classroom with what's in that book. All right? And then do what? Ask questions. politely hold up your hand and ask questions about what they are saying as opposed to what the book is saying. And you can just point to the book so that people don't single you out as being a troublemaker. I mean, you can say, well, this is just in the book. This is not me saying it, Professor. I'm not saying this. This is in a book that somebody wrote. Some guy, I don't know who is it, what, Neely Fuller Jr.? Yeah, he wrote this book, and he says here on page 28, thus and so. All right, and you can do that without causing a disturbance and whatnot, because if anybody aims at you for bringing the book into the class, you can just say, well, freedom of speech, freedom of writing. I'm just asking questions about the validity of what this guy wrote. I mean, I don't know who he is. I never met him or nothing. I mean, I'm not even advocating what he's saying. I'm just presenting it here in this class as something to discuss, since we're discussing race. But you can get the book by going to producejustice.com.
Okay, and before I get off that, it is now available in Canada and also in the United Kingdom?
Yes, right, and in England.
And in England.
And we're trying to get it, we're trying to expand that, so that it reaches to places all over the world.
Yes, because I'm getting a lot of inquiries from people from South Africa, and it seems like there's something going on where they're almost at the point where they can get that book. Do you know any information about that?
No, I don't, but I understand that through England, I mean, that people are looking for venues through the United Kingdom where it can then be transferred over to South Africa.
Yeah.
Because there's always something going on in South Africa.
Yes.
I mean, and a lot of the people there are very inquisitive about the world that they're in, and they should be. Yes. People everywhere should be. Morocco, Uganda, anywhere people of color are. They should take note, serious note, of this system that's just been around too long. System of white supremacy. Yeah. Sometimes they recognize it as something called colonialism. But get rid of that term. Just call it what it is. It's white supremacy.
White supremacy. Yes, I've gotten some information that the book is I don't want to say smuggled, because that seems like a negative term, but it's reaching some people in South Africa. They're just really just blown away by the information that's in that book. So to me, that's a good thing if they're getting this information. I don't know how they're getting it, but they're getting it, and that's good. Okay, producejustice.com. Okay, that's where you can get the book. Okay, going back to the Gmails. This is from Nick, Mr. Fuller, in Richmond, Virginia. He says this: Mr. Fuller, recently a prominent black conscious leader mentioned a civil war going on in the black community between blacks who are trying to force other blacks to accept a white agenda of sexuality and feminism, and blacks who want to think for themselves. Some blacks will outright attack, defame, and destroy other blacks who refuse to accept the mainstream white social agenda. Mr. Fuller, what do you make of this, and where do you foresee all this heading to in the next few years? Thank you very much, Nick from Richmond.
You can make it go the way that it should go simply by addressing it according to the code. That's why I wrote the book. It addresses all of this. And it doesn't make any difference whether the person is white or non-white. A person approaches you with something. So the first thing you should do is go into the question mode and stay there. All problems are what? Solved through the process of questions and answers. So when a person comes to you and say, you should accept this, and you say, accept what? See, that's a question. You should accept, the new sexuality, the new branches of sexuality. It just ain't one type of sexuality. There are thousands of types of sexuality. I mean, you're narrow-minded. You're this, you're that. Okay, let them do the name calling and all like that. You stay in the question mode. Don't argue. Never argue about anything, period, really. But specifically, don't argue about anything dealing with race, with anybody. Don't argue. See, what's the difference between having an argument and having a conversation?
Yeah.
Well, the mechanics of it is stay in the question lane. When you are just asking questions, you are not arguing. You are putting the burden of answering the questions on the person who knows everything. that's what you're basically telling the person. You know more about this subject than I do, so you just tell me. I'm just going to ask questions. I'm not telling you nothing. I'm not denouncing you. I'm not name-calling. That's against the code anyway, to name-call anybody, get into shouting matches and all like that, or getting into arguments. Black people should get out of the business of having arguments with anybody. We just ask questions, and all you have to do, the key is, don't limit your questions. I mean, somebody will be expecting you to ask maybe 30 questions and then start arguing about the answers that you're getting. No. You just keep asking questions. They'll take everybody right where they need to be by the answers that come up. That's all you have to do about this, all this new sexuality and old sexuality and mixed match sexuality and, you know, hypothetical sexuality, fake sexuality, whatever you want to call it, okay? Real sexuality, straight sexuality, crooked sexuality, okay. Okay, just ask questions. And just ask questions like, what is the value of it? And give me a demonstration of what you're talking about. I did that at a church myself. I said some people, they were, black church members said that a couple of white men came into the church and they wanted to help out with the youth program. All right. They had moved in across the street from the black church. And they said, we want to be a part of your youth program. We want to guide your youth in the way that they should go. So I asked a question. I said, are these two white males? Hello?
Yeah.
Are you still there?
I'm still here. Go ahead.
Yeah. Are these two white males homosexuals?
Yeah.
They said, and so the answer was, we don't know. I said, well, why don't you ask them?
Yes.
Since everybody's supposed to have so much pride now, you know, they should be proud to tell you that they want your youth, part of your youth program to be to teach your youth. I mean, all about the you know, the different varieties of sexuality and why it should be embraced if they are homosexuals. Just ask them.
Yeah, ask them.
I mean, you know, nobody's hiding now. I mean, you know. And that's not a insulting thing to ask. And if it is, you'll find that out. I mean, simply by asking.
Yes, you will.
So they'll just say, that's none of your business. All right? And so you just accept that. It's none of your business. But then you look at it as these fellas may be white supremacists running the white supremacist agenda. All right? Because you're supposed to suspect that anyway.
Exactly.
All right? I mean, that goes with the code anyway. All right? Anytime two white men come around talking about, we want to help your youth, you be suspicious that they may be white supremacists.
I would be suspicious,
That's automatic.
Yeah.
According to the code, that's automatic anyhow. So you can ask any question you want to ask, all right? And you accept whatever answer they give you. Don't argue about the answer, but you just make your program known, all right? And if anybody would approach me with that, saying, and if they say yes to that, I would say, oh, you want to teach the young people in this church all about the merits of homosexuality. And then I would ask the logical question, what do you mean by homosexuality? Start with the basics, all right? Just sit down and discuss it. Okay, it may be great. You know, this is what Christianity needs. I mean, you know, hey, that might be the missing link. That might be the one thing that'll save us all. Who knows? I'm willing to go with it. But make your case, sir. Make your case. And that's what I'm telling everybody about all these things coming up. Or racial showcasing. I mean, showcasing all of that. We got a new black princess now and all like that. So you go into the question mode. Don't condemn it. Don't put it down. Say, what is it for? Why are you doing this now? See, you may have 10,000 questions just about that one thing. And when it comes to sexuality, you should have unlimited questions about it.
Yeah.
And then, not only that, like in this particular case, in this particular church that I'm telling you about, I made a suggestion, because that's all that the code says I do. I said, why don't you have them demonstrate exactly what they're talking about that these children need? I said, have them come right here in the church and demonstrate what you call these great acts, if they are homosexuals. Demonstrate your homosexuality right here, up here on this altar, all right, so that we can see what all young Christians should be doing. I mean, we can see it for ourselves, so we'll make no mistake and there'll be no confusion. And the people that I was talking to, they said, "Are you serious?" Say, "Mr. Fuller, are you serious about it?" I said, "I'm absolutely serious." I said, if people are going to bring anything to you, have them show you, not just talk about it in abstract terms. I mean, have them show you how this is going to be a great improvement over anything that you have ever done here. Otherwise, if it's not an improvement, then you say, well, you know, we appreciate you demonstrating and all like that, but we'll think about it and get back to you.
Yeah. Wow. Whew, that's...
Yeah, I mean, let's everybody see, codification is about everybody being up front, right, to the nth degree.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you know, hey, state your case. Make your case and make sense out of your case. Because everything that everybody does from this moment on the planet should be in the constructive mode.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, that's the, excuse me.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
the essence of the whole code.
Alrighty.
Separate that which is constructive from that which is non-constructive.
Okay. We're going to have to leave it right there. Thank you for the pleasure of your time. We really appreciate that. TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio the way it should be heard. Stay tuned for the second hour.
Thanks for listening to The Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio.
Talktainment Radio, worldwide sound. Talktainmentradio.com. We give you a reason to come. The world's greatest radio. We give you a reason to stay. Radio, the way it should be heard. You got the power.
The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guest and not necessarily those of TalkTainmentRadio.com, the management, the staff, or K&E World Network, LLC.
Live call-in talk show. Dial 1-877-932-9766 and join the conversation here on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
This is The Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio. Radio, the way it should be heard. And now, Mr. Neely Fuller.
If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Only confuse you. Only confuse you.
Alrighty, welcome to TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go on the world's greatest radio. That is Talktainment Radio, radio the way it should be heard. You are listening to The Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. I am your co-host, Mr. Bobby, and this is Radio the way it should be heard. We started out, and we are still on the topic of the white male anus being the new vagina in the system of racism, white supremacy. So we've been taking your calls. Mr. Fuller has been answering it. And you don't always have to stay on this topic, but you can do other topics. We also are doing the a special announcement from our staff, so stay tuned for that. You can get in contact with the show as we have this caller on the line, 1-877-932-9766. You can also go to my to the Gmails. That is 7 Mr. Bobby, BOBBY @gmail.com. You can look and listen to the live broadcast by going to the YouTube channel, type in the word Talktainment, hit the space bar and type in the word radio, scroll down to Talktainment number 2 live on YouTube, and watch the live program while you are there. It is important that you hit the subscribe button and the like button. You can also do this. Go to facebook.com/Talktainment. That's another way you can do that. But you can also do this. You can also go to the TalktainmentRadio.com homepage and hit the Talktainment.com podcast of the compensatory concept. We would really prefer you do that. That way you can listen to the unadulterated words of Mr. Fuller. Okay, with that all out of the way, remember we're going to have a special announcement coming up. But right now we will go to the phone lines and we will speak with the caller. Go ahead, caller. You are now on with Mr. Fuller.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're on with Mr. Fuller.
Hello, Mr. Neely Fuller and Mr. Bobby. I just wanted to share with BGQ, and I just wanted to say my name is Elemental P Nation, and I'm calling from Hong Kong. And it is based off my opinion, my personal opinion, and based off logic, that Mr. Neely Fuller's words and his book has a stronger message about producing justice than the book that everyone says is about producing justice, which is the Bible. And again, this is my opinion, but what he wrote in that book, I think people should read that book more, actually, than they should read Scripture. And I just wanted to thank Mr. Neely Fuller for putting that together and going through with it. And thank you so much, and I appreciate it, and we all do. Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Fuller, your work is being spread down in Hong Kong, which is very good. Very good. Thank you, caller, for your call. Let's see here, Mr. Fuller. Let me see. Let me go to this Gmail, if I'm right here. Mr. Fuller, this person says that they were accepted into Harvard for a special certification in the field. The cost was roughly $50,000. They, I guess the administrators, are promising as much greater career path, but won't give me the Harvard alumni status. What questions, Mr. Fuller, can I ask the recruiter to determine if this is something that I should pursue? Thank you. The person did not want me to mention their names.
Well, any questions that always think about what it is you want to do. See, this is in the code.
Oh, the 4 questions?
Yes, the 4 questions. You know, what do you want to do? Ask yourself, what is it that you want to do? Why do you want to do it? How do you plan to do it? And evidently you plan to do it through the facilities of a institution called Harvard, okay? And what do you expect the constructive result to be? And just ask those people those 4 questions. Those 4 questions will apply to anybody, anywhere, at any time.
Okay.
Any person on the planet. This is under the first area of activity in the code book, under economics. You'll find that.
Yes.
And those 4 questions will apply to any activity of any person on the planet, any time of day or night. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? How do you plan to do it? And the 4th question, what do you expect the constructive result to be? And when you sit down to talk to the people at Harvard, you can say, you know, what do you all teach? You know, but it's based on what you want. You are there for a reason. So you keep in focus what your reason is. And then when you get to that 4th question, you know, you want, and that's the clincher question. That's the bottom line question. All right? Now, when you all give me whatever it is you offer me here at Harvard, what can I expect to be the constructive result? In other words, what will fall in place in my favor. And if they can't give you any answers, then you think you're spending, say, what, $50,000, or you say, well, I don't know if you all can give me $50,000 worth of whatever it is I came for, because this is business, okay? I mean, going to any kind of school now, any kind of institution, even the first grade, that's business.
Okay.
You want to know what you are going to walk out of there with that you can use.
You're right. Okay.
That's from the first grade right up until even the new grades that will be coming down the pike, maybe.
All right.
I mean, on into infinity. What can you get out of it? Otherwise, why do it?
Okay. I don't know all about... Yeah, thank you, Mr. Fuller. All that heavy breathing in the background here. Anyway, let's do this. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, you are now on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead with your question.
Good morning, Mr. Bobby and Mr. Fuller. Mr. Fuller, could you please explain or elaborate on the 2 points that you made in the past, which is how black people need to make our work, our fun, and how we should not compare ourselves to each other, but how we should compare ourselves to white people.
Yes, well, really, we should compare ourselves with actually what we should be. I mean, but we can start with comparing ourselves with our jailers, all right? How did we get in this jail? How did we get in this circumstance? And then start codifying, how do we get out of it?
Yes.
Well, presumably, you use the code book and whatnot to help to destroy the system of white supremacy. I mean, you don't do any half-stepping on that. You can say that to the entire world. I do. I mean, and I'm not a brave person. I just say, hey, this system never should have existed. But when I say destroy the system, I don't mean, kill all the people who practice it. You might have to kill some. I mean, and I'll outline that, what the circumstances are in the textbook, all right? But when it, because they deal in killing, all right? So there is a time for killing. I mean, a lot of biblical scriptures say that, okay? But you do that sparingly, and you do that with all seriousness. I would say more seriousness than anybody ever has. Black people should look on this business of killing as being real serious business.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Mr. Fuller. Let me interject here. Would that be called a tragic necessity, which is also mentioned in the book?
Absolutely. That's what it's called. Anytime anybody kills anybody, it should be a tragic necessity if you do it willfully and deliberately. I mean, it is absolutely tragic. You never brag about killing. You don't make war heroes out of anybody. Anytime anybody kills anybody, you don't put any medal on their chest. But killing someone, killing people is one of the easiest things in the world to do.
Wow.
Try looking at a person who is running out of a building completely engulfed in flames, and somebody manages to get to that person and put out the flames.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are told, see if you can repair this person.
Yes.
Because the person is still breathing.
Now
your work is really cut out for you.
Yeah, it's really cut out.
You got to cut off those pieces of clothing real carefully, being careful not to pull the skin off and all like that, because skin is a protective layer.
Yes.
On anybody, regardless of the color of the skin. All right? That's what the skin is for. That's why people shouldn't go around putting all this graffiti on their skin.
Exactly.
You're in your skin
Mm-hmm.
when you put that junk on your skin. Don't let the white supremacists tell you to put something on your black skin. They branded you and your grandfathers, with, branding irons.
Yes, they did.
I mean, don't have them brand you. Go somewhere and pay someone to sit down and spend 2 or 3 hours branding you again, and then you give money for it. Stop and look at it. I mean, you're not an animal. You don't brand your skin. Let your skin stay just like it is. It's perfect, just the way it is.
That is a tragic arrangement. Woo.
Yes. Okay. But where was I?
We were talking about the tragic necessity. Now, according to the book, the code, it says that a tragic necessity, meaning kill, is to restore or maintain. Now, this word I'm getting ready to use is very well, what the book says, it says to restore or maintain correctiveness in justice. But that would be correct. Am I not true?
Yes, in other words, you're always trying to produce justice. It's called justifiable homicide. All right.
Yes.
That's a loose term for it. But and if someone is trying to harm you, trying to take you out of this universe, they weren't there when you were born, and some person comes up, hunts you down, and tries to kill you or lynch you or whatever. I mean, you have a duty to protect yourself.
Yes.
This was an investment, all right? Your parents invested in you, took you so far. I mean, and they put you through school and all like that, and then someone comes along and say, in the next 3 minutes, you're not going to be breathing anymore because I have made this decision that you shouldn't be here, that I should kill you, and then I should walk around as, like that wasn't anything to do, and that, you not being here, no big deal, I'm still here. What kind of arrogance is that? But the white supremacists think that's fun. Killing people is fun. And they have made it fun for black people. Black people run all around, joining gangs and all like that, talking about how many people they kill. That's no big deal.
No.
Killing a person is one of the easiest things in the world to do. But trying to patch a person up who's dying, that's where you got to have some skills.
Absolutely.
You don't have to have any skills to walk up with an ice pick on a bus stop and stab somebody in the back of the neck. That doesn't take any skill.
No, sir.
That just takes a whole lot of arrogance, that's all.
Yes, sir.
And it takes a willingness to insult your creator. So if you can't create a person, yeah, you can commit sexual intercourse and maybe a baby, a miracle of birth, but you don't know nothing about that. You didn't actually make a baby because you didn't make yourself.
Yes.
The creator creates babies. You don't create anything. But you're going to have the arrogance to say, well, I'm mad about something, so I don't know who I'm mad at or what I'm mad about, but I'm going to go around, and if anybody looks at me cross-eyed today, I'm going to kill them. What kind of arrogance is that?
Wow.
Because you are insulting the creator of yourself.
Yes.
And really, according to the code, that lesson should be taught to you, because if you're so arrogant as to willfully, deliberately, and unjustly kill someone, I'm talking about unjustly now, not self-defense. You should be put, like the book says, the textbook for victims of white supremacy, you should be put into compensatory solitary confinement, and that's described in the book.
In the book, yeah.
Under law. And you should be kept there until you do what? Kill yourself. You like killing so well, you take that same gun that you used to kill that other person with, and you sit there and look at it until you decide to use it. Because that's the only thing that's going to be in that cell with you. Your buddy.
Your buddy.
That's your partner in crime. So you and your partner can make a deal with each other. Your partner kills you as compensation for the person that you killed. It doesn't get no better than that.
TalkTainmentRadio.com is a 24/7, no-charge worldwide broadcasting facility with hosts delivering on various topics such as news, lifestyle, sports, law, health, wellness, religion, and politics. Now, we have a special announcement that we have been making, and we need you to pay close attention to. So if we're ready, we can cue that bad boy up and give a listen to this special message from TalkTainmentRadio.com.
Thank you for your emails and your feedback, and we are working very hard for you. We have supported the compensatory code since 1975. We believe that it is the only system of thought, speech, and action that enables us to move in the correct direction to work toward the production of justice. But right now, we need your help. If we're going to continue the compensatory concept show each week, we need your support. Now, we thank you and deeply appreciate what you've already donated. Please help us to continue to get the compensatory code system of thought, speech, and action out. Please donate today. Go to talktainmentradio.com and hit the yellow donate button on the front page. Donate today. We appreciate any amount that you can give. We thank you so much.
Okay. Now, you know, there are some people who listen to the program, who call in to the program, and, you know, contribute to the program, except when it comes to putting their money into the program. If this program, the compensatory concept with Mr. Fuller, is of any value to you, then donate so that we can keep it going and don't let it go away. You don't want it to go away. If it means that much to you. Now, if it doesn't, well, you know, then we'll have to do what we have to do. But make sure, since you ask questions and want Mr. Fuller to answer your questions and get the knowledge that he expresses through suggestions, then go ahead and make that donation. Okay, talktainmentradio.com. All you have to do is click on also for programs for scheduled times. Talktainment Radio, that's radio the way it should be heard. I am Mr. Bobby. I am the co-host on the compensatory concept with Mr. Neely Fuller. Blessed to be the co-host. And our topic today has been the white male anus in the system of racism, which is white supremacy. What does that mean? And Mr. Fuller has been taking your calls on that subject and explaining it, as well as any other subject matter that you would like to discuss. Now, here's one. I'm going to try to, okay, I'll just read it. A few days ago, Mr. Fuller, a so-called black leader, suggested that the so-called royal wedding between the half-black Meghan Markle and Prince Harry was a death blow to white supremacy. And so my question to you is, could this be true or is it not? I ask Mr. Fuller because some lay people who are new to your work, and then there are those who've not read your book as of yet are listening even in this morning. What is your thoughts on that, Mr. Fuller?
Well, I covered it in the first hour. It was racial showcasing. That's all it is. It's just another stage. White supremacy goes through 4 stages. And the refined white supremacists, these are the smartest of the white supremacists, they are thinking long range. So they have taken a look and they say, okay, this thing with Mr. Nelson Mandela, it worked out pretty well. I mean, it got a lot of people all over the world thinking, here's a person that walked out of a greater confinement and then, became president of South Africa. I mean, president of all these wars that we have here. All of these people, these ancient Dutchmen and English-speaking people and whatnot. Okay, well, we tried that on for size, and it had an effect all over the world. I mean, it gave all the young black males, some kind of hope that they could be presidents of a colonized place, walking right out of jail and doing it. I mean, that is possible. They have seen that happen. And so they're in pretty good shape now. Their minds are in pretty good shape. I mean, that racism is gone out of business. And so now, hey, they can kind of sit back and relax, take a breather. Mr. Nelson Mandela. And then over in the northwestern hemisphere, they've had President Barack Obama and his lady, Michelle, the first lady of the most powerful area of the world in the eyes of many. On their hands, got their hands right there on the nuclear butt. People of color, got their hands on the nuclear butt. How, hey, you don't get more powerful than that. Can blow up the whole world in 5 minutes, all right? And they are people of color? Oh, racism is gone. Well, we kind of came down off of that high, okay? Now, In another part of the world, I mean, among the people who spread that English language all over the world, and along with a whole bunch of other things that they said were English that didn't work out too well for a whole bunch of people, like slavery, all right? Well, now you have what they call a person of color who is now a princess, something that we have taught about in the elementary school. Every little black girl now in every little village can say, I can be a princess. I can be a princess. Sure you can, but you ain't going to be, not according to the white supremacists. They are showcasing us, and they have picked out all kinds of ways to go about it. In fact, it looks like they have a timetable now that every 5 or 6 years they're going to come up with a new showcase, all right? And that'll keep us groggy, thinking that we are making progress when we are not.
Mm-hmm.
Because white supremacy is a business. Now, what are business principles? Profits and losses. So they'll say, hey, we can take one non-white person, one black person, showcase that black person, and give millions of black people a false hope that everything in a few days, a week or two, is going to magically be all right. Because now you have a black princess that everybody looks up to all over the world, white and non-white. Everybody bows down to. Isn't that grand? And that princess has color. We announced that. No more racism. All right? But we're going to practice racism each and every day and refine it. And this is a part of the refinement.
Yeah.
Making them think that they're getting something that they're not getting at all.
At all. All righty. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, you're on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead with your question.
Good morning, Mr. Fuller. Good morning, Mr. Bobby.
Morning.
Good morning. Mr. Fuller, I made an observation about dogs, since you had mentioned that white suspected racists put on dog shows. In your opinion, are dogs treated better than black males on this planet? Because in my observation, I see that white people in all these big houses all over the country, they have dogs, if not multiple dogs. So in your opinion, are dogs living better than black males on this planet?
Mr. Fuller?
Well, many of them are, and many of them aren't. There are a lot of dogs on the planet, all right? Dogs are hunted down in a lot of places and shot because they're considered just dogs. I mean, they're in the way, okay? And it's the same way with black people, hunted down and shot. And black people in the northwestern hemisphere, among what you call the hip black people, what do we call each other?
Dog.
Hey, dog. Where you going, dog? You know.
What's up,
hey,
big
man,
dog?
Hey, here come my main dog.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we call our females what?
You know what, that B word.
Bitches.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. And then when we get mad, when the white supremacists treat us just like we call each other. All right? So stop using that kind of language, for one thing. I mean, everything is about stopping things and starting things. Codification. Progress is all about stopping some things and starting other things. That's
Yes, sir.
all it is. Okay? So we can just stop using this kind of language, you know, even in a frivolous way. That's my dog. I mean, that's a person. Okay? A person is not a dog. Okay? So, you know, just and don't call black females even when you're angry. Never refer to them as that B word. You got black females in the northwestern hemisphere who call each other that.
Yes.
I mean, they'll have a little groups, and they call the whole group that.
Yes.
All right? And the white supremacist said, yeah, you got that right. That's what all of you are. And we're going to treat you like that. We're going to put you on a leash. All right? And then some of us, like they have always done, and this is right off the slave ships, they took some black people and dressed them up with a top hat and some high, shiny boots and made a coachman out of him. A coach slave. He drove the coach, drove the missus. He's dressed up better than a whole bunch of white people
Or
who are out there doing farm work and all like that.
how about this one, Mr. Fuller?
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of a man having a leash on a woman walking into a club.
Sure. All right. So when they put us on leashes, I mean, what is a leash? I mean, it's just one step close to doing what? A noose. Okay?
Yeah.
So, hey, if a white supremacist already got that slave with a leash around his neck, all right? Like you see old pictures of that. And that's, hey, if that slave start getting arrogant and start mouthing off and all like that, you just take that leash, the strap part of it, throw it over a limb, and what have you got? You got a good lynching going on there.
Good lynching going on.
All right? See, so, hey, I mean, we have to just pay attention to details, because that's all white supremacy is about, just misusing people. And in answer to the question, yes, they have show dogs, dog shows. I mean, they pony out in showcasing. They'll pick out their favorite black people and show them off, put them all down front. They started that after the 1960s, after the riots in the Northwestern Hemisphere. We got to have a whole lot of showcase black people now. We can't get by with just Joe Louis and Tina Horn and Josephine Baker over there in France.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could get, for years, we've been riding on just those 3 or 4 people. Now we got to have hundreds of showcase black people. So we'll just get hundreds. Why? On a percentage basis, hundreds doesn't compare to millions who are starving.
Absolutely.
See, so that's how they do it. They'll showcase. They'll come and get Neely Fuller and make a show dog out of him. All right, pony him out. They all dressed up in a fine suit.
Yeah.
I mean, the finest of suits, right out of Paris.
They do that.
The latest thing. All right.
All righty.
And he'll be grinning and showing his diamond teeth and all like that.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll say, "See, racism doesn't exist."
Okay.
Look at Neely Fuller.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got billions of dollars.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. So let me go right now to the caller. Okay, caller, what is your question for Mr. Fuller?
How you doing today, Mr. Fuller and Mr. Bobby?
Alrighty.
This is Brother Muko from Baltimore, where we hold the compensatory constructive action
Yes.
every Saturday, St. Lo Drive, across the street from Lake Clifton High School. We're doing it this Saturday at 12 noon again. Anybody want to come out, feel free to join. A question for Mr. Fuller. Mr. Fuller, can you expound for my care unit in Baltimore how according to counter-racist logic, under the system of white supremacy, can you expound on what kind of protection a black male can offer a non-white female?
What kind of protection?
Yes, sir.
A non-white male can offer a non-white female. Is
Yes,
that the
sir.
question?
Yes, sir.
Oh, he can't. You can't guarantee any protection for yourself. If you are classified as non-white, you're anywhere on this planet under the system of white supremacy. It's all you have to do is just think of the entire planet as being a prison.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a person of color, you are born in prison. So one prisoner can't guarantee protection of anything, because the prisoner cannot protect him or herself. All prisoners are equal. So all we can do is just try to comfort each other. We provide comfort.
Yes.
Prisoners can do that.
Like Andy Dufresne did.
Like Andy Dufresne. I mean, he tries to help out people. I mean, of course he did it the best he could in the way that they could understand. I wouldn't say it was constructive, but like when they were working on the project on the outside, and he decided, well, maybe I'll give the guys something to kind of little hope for if I can just get them a few bottles of beer.
Yeah, that was on the roof, I think.
Don't have beer in a penitentiary, okay?
Right.
But Andy Frame was able to get them a little beer.
Right.
I mean, so that they can get a little refreshment.
Yes.
After doing all that work on the roofing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was a small thing, but he did what he could.
But it was a big thing.
Yes, but it was a big thing for the prisoners.
Yeah.
They said, man, we ain't had beer. I mean, you don't have beer ever. We got life sentences. We ain't drank beer since I've been in here 20 years and never had a drink of beer.
Ice cold beer.
Yeah, ice cold beer. See what I mean? So he got something, all right? They give the guys, and then what did he do on another occasion? He got access to the warden's office, see, because you have to be in position. That's another thing Andy Dufresne did. See what I mean? Which is why I want to say something about that showcasing. If you're offered a showcase position, take it. Don't ever knock a person who takes a showcase position. Just understand that you are being showcased. But take the money and run. Okay? Now, Andy Dufresne, he got a little break by being able not just to be out there in the prison yard, but he was working in the warden's office, using the warden's facilities. So he managed to come across a phonograph set and a phonograph record. Now, he went in the warden's office and hooked it up and put it on the speaker so that the people out there in the prison yard who were bored out of their minds, they were able to hear some music for the first time. Because back in those days, you didn't have access to music. All right? Imagine being in prison for black people and you never hear any musical sounds. I mean, you don't have access to music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's murder for us.
And would you say, Mr. Fuller, because he had a skill in doing taxes, that gave them or him an opportunity to share?
Yes, that's another thing. Always try to have a skill so that you can position yourself in certain places where you can help somebody. Don't turn down knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Anytime you can learn something of value, learn it. Learn it. Even if you're not getting paid very much.
Mm-hmm. So would you
can never tell when it may pay off down the line.
Right. So would you say that protection, as Brother Muko had pointed out, by him having those skills and willing to share it with the inmates was a form of protection, not protection as we would know it in terms of of giving your life for somebody, but protection in that they weren't always beat on for those hours because of the skills that he had.
It was called political jujitsu, which is what the code says is all about. You use your enemy's strength against them.
Okay.
All right? Now, what did Andy Dufresne do? Andy Dufresne was being sodomized.
Oh, yeah.
All right? By Boggs and a few other people who went around sodomizing people in the prison. All right? And nobody could protect him from that. But what he did, he used political jujitsu. He had the toughest guy other than the warden in the prison. And that was this guy, I forgot his name in the movie, but this head guard that everybody was afraid of. He found out, because he had done this fellow a favor by doing his saving him some money from an inheritance. This main guard, he said, I can save you some money on your wife's taxes and whatnot. You and your wife won't have to pay taxes. You can declare it. I mean, all of these expenses, it'll be a tax write-off, and I can do it for you. And so, now this is the most brutal guard, the head of the entire guards in the entire prison. What was his name? Hadley or something like that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, he said, okay, you're so smart. I mean, you're a hotshot banker. You can save me this money. Save me the money. So he did. Okay? And then when the guard found out that the person that was helping him, even though he was a prisoner, was being sodomized, he said, oh, I can't have the guy who's helping me be mistreated like that, even though I mistreat everybody. I'm not going to have nobody get hurt that's helping me. So what did he do? He took Boggs out of that cell and beat him half to death. All right?
Right.
So that they had to take him to the infirmary to live out the rest of his days.
Mm.
All right? And they said, as Red said in the movie, what? I mean, he spent the rest of his days eating his food through a straw. of the frame was no longer harmed by any other prisoner in that prison. Why? Because the toughest guy in the prison would do a job on them. In other words, this is my boy. You mess with my boy, you messing with me.
Yeah.
And you don't ever want to do that.
Right.
Okay? So in other words, and little by little, to play out the movie, because this is the way that black people are going to have to go, you'll wind up really in a position, and the smarter we get, the more we become wiser, or smarter, you might say, about how the prison is run. And the next thing you know, the prison is no longer the prison for the prisoners. Because that's what Andy Dufresne did. He worked from inside the prison. Why? Because that's where he was.
That's where he was, yeah.
But when he left, the prison collapsed, at least under Warden Norton's command.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Because Norton did what? What was the final thing that Norton did?
Unit to itself?
He
killed himself.
The crooked warden of that prison killed himself. Now, if that ain't political jujitsu, I don't know what is.
I got you.
See what I mean? That's a lesson right there.
That's a lesson.
And the white supremacists are slowly, if we understand how they work, we get them to do themselves in. So it says on the back of the code book that I have written, what? The seeds of the destruction of the system of white supremacy is built right into itself.
Well, there you go, Brother Muko. You got it for your compensatory care unit, and I thank you for doing the job that you're doing to make aware the citizens of Baltimore what's going on. Thank you so much, Brother Muko.
Well, I appreciate y'all. Thank you, too, Mr. Fuller. My donation to be done Friday is up, well as the shirt, Mr. Bobby.
All righty. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Brother Muko gives donations, and that he's really deep into the compensatory concept with the care unit, sharing that message, and it's just a beautiful thing. Okay, speaking of beautiful things, it is at this point where we will have Mr. Fuller discuss his book. So, Mr. Fuller, it's yours.
You can get the book by going to producejustice.com. That's producejustice.com. What will come up on the screen is a brief description of the basic textbook and also a word guide, a counter-racist word guide, how to use words, how not to use words, what questions to ask. Questions are very important when you hear other people use certain terms. I mean, rather than you pass judgments on the terms, just ask questions from the person who is using the term. And the code book outlines how to go about doing that, because there are a lot of words in the so-called English language that are used to support the system of white supremacy. And so any word that you don't have a definition for that makes sense, ask questions about these words. And it's not a dictionary, but it's a word guide. It's called a compensatory counter-racist codified word guide. So you just pick out certain words that are very important that the racists have a tendency to use all the time that help them to do what they do. So when you raise questions about these words, like biracial, for instance, that's a term that shouldn't exist, because there's no such thing as a biracial person.
Yes.
But the white supremacists act like everybody's supposed to understand what that means. That's a meaningless term. But you just can't say it's a meaningless term and just walk away. What you do is when a person uses the term, ask the person questions. Sir, and always be polite. What do you mean when you use the term biracial? What is biracial? And then what is bi? And what is racial? Okay? And what makes bi different from something that is completely racial? Okay? And then what is racial? And what is not racial? See what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And so on and so on and so on. But you can get the book and the extended volume, because basically it's the same book, by going to producejustice.com. And if you just can get one volume, just get the basic book, the 2016 version.
Okay.
And that's what I call the basic book. That's the generic term. Mm-hmm. But go to producejustice.com, and everything is there for ordering.
Okay. Just a little word before we go to the phone call. Somebody wrote in and said, Mr. Fuller, thank you for the explanation of the Shawshank Redemption. I never knew that such eloquence was in the frames that were being shot or messages that were being told. Thank you so much, Mr. Fuller. And I concur with that because I didn't even think of some of those things. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, now you are on with Mr. Fuller. You can be heard, so this is your time. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Bobby, Mr. Fuller. Thank you for all y'all's work on the compensatory concept. Jazz musician Wynton Marsalis stated yesterday that rap and hip-hop lyrics are more damaging to the black community than Confederate statues and he said specifically statues of Robert E. Lee. And I just wanted to get Mr. Fuller's thoughts on that.
Well, first of all, I would never make that statement, not ever, okay? The code says stay away from making statements, particularly if you're criticizing something that black people are doing or something that you disapprove of. You may disapprove of it, but stay away from making statements. Ask questions. And so the question would be, I'll give an example, according to the code. I wouldn't go on the air or any other place or report it to a newspaper that rap and hip-hop are bad for black people. I would ask a question. Everything is within the frame. I'd like to say this, first of all. Everything in counter-racist codification falls into one of two categories: constructive, non-constructive. So you just simply ask a simple question. Is rap and hip-hop, generally speaking, whatever that means, first of all, you want to describe what rap and hip-hop is. Get that straight first. What is rap? What is hip-hop? What's the difference between rap and hip-hop and other forms of what you might call communication or music genre or whatever it is you want to call it? And is it musical? First of all, is it music? Is it poetry? And let the person who is doing it explain what it is, all right? First of all, get that nailed down. What is rap? What is hip-hop? What's the difference between rap and hip-hop? Are they the same thing? Get all that threshed out first so that we'll all be on the same page. Then you say, now, are there different forms of it, all right? And what forms? What are all the different forms of it? What forms do they take? All right, and break all that down. See, these are questions, because all problems are solved through the process of what? Questions and answers. Then you move on to the third step, which is, okay, let's take it individually now. Let's use an example. So you play a hip-hop song or a rap song, if there is a difference between the two. Okay? Play one and then play the other, and then say what the differences are. You get that far. Then you move on to the next step. Then you say, okay, is this one of the shining examples, one of the best examples of rap? All right? And so you play it, the entire thing, okay, whatever it is. And then you ask the bottom line question. Does this have a constructive effect on the thought, the speech, and the action of black people? Is this constructive? Or is it non-constructive? Now, you don't stop there. If you say it's non-constructive, then you have to examine it and see how is it non-constructive. All right? By what? By the effects that it has. When a person listens to it or looks at it or whatnot or plays it, what are they inspired to do? Because all sounds inspire you to do something. I don't care what sound it is.
Yes.
Sound of a waterfall. It inspires you to do something. The sound of water running in the kitchen will inspire you to do something. You might get up and want to say, did I leave that water on in the sink?
Or go to the restroom.
Yeah, right. There you go. See, you're going to be motivated to do something. So you just examine what black people are motivated to do, in all areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war when they hear certain sounds. Because rap and hip-hop are just sounds. That's all they are. They're sounds.
Okay.
So when you hear these sounds, whether it's rap, hip-hop, or a bird that's chirping outside your window, what does that make you do?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Bottom line.
What do you want to do as a result of hearing that?
Okay.
All right? Because you're going to want to do something. It might be just, hey, I'm going to turn this off. Or it might go the other way. I'm going to turn this up.
Yeah.
And that's the first reaction you'll have.
Yeah.
Then it comes down to the second and the third and the fourth reaction.
Yeah, whatever.
As a result of what you were listening to.
Okay. Let's take another phone call. Caller, you are now on with Mr. Fuller, and you can be heard. So go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking this call. I want all decent human beings to listen to me very careful. People that call themselves black in this country, our time is running out fast. The process of understanding or perceiving a common evil has put many people into a situation of the utmost danger. What that simply means, people, is most people who was exterminated, they never saw extermination coming. They saw bad things being done to them. They saw evil things being done to them, but they had no idea that the people that was doing this to them had plans to exterminate them. This is exactly where we are today in this country, people that call themselves black. Now, Mr. Hitler did not overthrow the government in Germany. Listen, people, Mr. Mussolini did not overthrow the government in Italy. The power structure in those countries put those people in to do just what they did. This psychopath you have here, Donald Hitler, Mussolini, Dump, did not overthrow this power structure. They put him in to do exactly what he's doing. They putting a lot of propaganda out in the media about this, that. They are creating an atmosphere for us to be exterminated. Now, if you want to have a chance for life, this is what you must do. If you can get out of here, you must get out of here. Somebody said, where you going to go? Hey, anywhere going to be better than here. But let me tell you this. Refugees are nothing new. They coming in here every day. They're leaving here every day. People have been running for their life as long as there's been human beings on this planet. And it will continue to happen. You got to think about yourself and what's best for you. But pay attention to what's happening here.
Okay.
These people are setting us up for extermination.
All right, my man. Extermination man. Thank you so much. VGQ, Extermination man. Mr. Fuller, the final question for today is from Miss Washington. She says this: black women have chosen welfare to have numerous children without being married. Mr. Fuller, are black women the blame for the current conditions of the black community?
No. The white supremacists are to blame for everything that black people do that black people should not do. Why? They are running the system. They are running the system. Females are supposed to have babies. You're supposed to have a system set up to accommodate the babies, period. The creator of the universe sends babies. Your system should be set up to accommodate what the creator creates. And you do it in balance, all right? But black people are not in control of any of that. They say, well, black people should control themselves. In order to do what? To accommodate a system that is illegal? That is unjust? No. The system is supposed to support whomever is in that system. That's the way that's supposed to work. I mean, you don't know, hey, and a female might have 6 offspring, but one of them comes up with a cure. I mean, say 4 of them are just average. Another one is nothing but a stone troublemaker. That's 5. And then number 6, which might be the third one, by the way, not the last one born, but the third one born, might be the person that for some reason comes up with a simple formula for curing 12 different types of cancer. I mean, just a few minutes with some simple herbs of some type that they discovered.
Exactly.
See, you don't know what you're cutting yourself off from. So the white supremacists, since they took us and made us their children, we say in one voice or individually, take care of your children. We are your illegitimate children. You are our illegitimate parents. That's what we say to the white supremacists of the world, because that's what they are. They took us over. So they are responsible for every move we make. Why? We are in their prison. We are their prisoners. They are running the prison. So therefore, we don't have any obligation to an illegitimate system, the system of white supremacy, the only real government on the planet. We have no obligation to that.
All right.
They have an obligation to their illegitimate goods, which is us.
Which is us. Well, you know what that means when you hear the music. Thank you for the pleasure of your time. Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Thank you, callers. TalkTameRadio.com.